Hi there, welcome back. I'm Lee Sharon, and this is the forest at Old Tavern Farm. I'm sitting here on this fallen tree, surrounded by the sight and the scent of one of nature's most beautiful spring gifts, wild leeks, sometimes known as ramps. Technically, they're called Allium tricoccum. It's a little too scientific for me, so I'm going to stick with ramps. Ramps are completely wild. They occur naturally on the eastern side of North America, including Canada. They like to grow in areas like this, where the soil is very rich and inside the shelter of a mature forest. When I harvest my ramps, I take a few and lift them from the roots just to get some of their stem flavor, and the entire plant is edible. So in order to preserve this patch and have it come back year after year, I'll take outside leaves and I will harvest leaf by leaf instead of pulling the entire plant. So I'm surrounded right now by a gentle smell of sort of garlicky onion, just very, very subtle. And the leaves are very green and flexible and lush. It's a good word. So before I go any further, I would just like to apologize for my hair. It's raining today, and when I get rain on my hair, it curls a lot. So I'm sure there's some of you out there that feel my pain. However, we're in the woods, so we're not going to worry about our hair, and we're going to get some beautiful wild leeks. I'm going to just pinch off the outer leaves like this, and I'm just going to use the leaves to preserve. I'm going to make some pesto and some ramp butter just to preserve the beauty of spring when it's February, because February is kind of grim around here. All right, let's go pick some leaves. Okay, so I've got my basket of leeks and we are all finished harvesting. A couple of things you should know before you do anything with anything outside in the wild is be sure and do your research. Make sure you know how to identify anything that you might pick. Make sure that you know the land that you're on is not owned by somebody, and if it is, be sure and get their permission first. And I know this is my land, and I'm also identifying these by these pink stems. They smell like onions, okay? And I also just know what ramps look like. But everybody needs to do their research before they do anything like this. Also, there are lots of deer droppings up here because the deer live up here. They are here every day. And when you are picking something off of the forest floor, you still need to make sure and wash it, even though it's in the wild, there's not any pesticides or chemicals on it. There could be bacteria from animal droppings. So be sure and give them a good wash before you use them. Okay, let's go back to the Old Tavern Farm kitchen and see what we can get into. Okay, So we're back in the Old Tavern Farm kitchen, and I've washed up my ramp leaves, and I've got a few things here that we need to make what is called simply ramp butter. In the culinary business, this is simply called a compound butter. It's just softened butter that you add ingredients to. You can add anything. Then we make it into a log, and I'll show you how to do that. And then when you go to use it, you simply cut your discs off the log, and you can put it under the skin of chicken. You can use it to top seared steak. You can really use it for anything. It's just an all-purpose way to preserve the seasonal harvest. All right, so let me bring you in closer and I'll show you what we're gonna do. Okay, so if you guys remember, last year in the summer, I did a video on basil pesto and how to make other herb pestos. And I'll put a link in the info card section so you can go back and look at that. Anyway, this ramp pesto is the same exact technique. You're just using ramp leaves instead of basil or chives or cilantro. Or any other dill, any other. You can make pestos out of anything, really. Let's just keep it to the herb world. So anyway, so what we're gonna do is we've got our Cuisinart food processor here, and we're just gonna load the hopper with some of the leaves, and you do kind of have to make do a few leaves at a time. If you put too much in the hopper, it'll just jam up and get hot. The friction of the blade going around. Okay, so I'm gonna just set this up here for a second. Put the lid on and just process it. It's loud, so plug your ears. And then we're going to add some more. When you're harvesting ramps, it all depends on what your end usage is for these. So if you want to preserve the harvest, like I'm doing, then you really definitely do only want the outer leaves, because the bulbs are great and the stems are great, but usually when people use those, they're using them as in immediate use dishes, like grilling them or sauteing them, or chopping them and serving them over like polenta or spätzle or anything like that. So it just depends on how your end use is gonna be. So let's spin it again. So once I've got a base of chopped product down here in the bottom, I'm gonna start adding in my olive oil. same thing. Whiz it and add olive oil. I'm gonna add salt. I'm gonna add Parmesan cheese and just a handful of nuts that I happen to have on hand and some lemon juice. So let's see, actually I think I'm gonna add my nuts first. These are just nuts that I got at my co-op that I don't have any pine nuts or any special nuts, walnuts. I don't really have any of that on hand right now. So again, use what you have. So, and it'll be delicious. So I'm just gonna feed in just a few. I don't want the flavor of the nuts to overwhelm the ramps because it's kind of, ramps are delicate. We're gonna add our olive oil. Once you start adding your olive oil, things start to lubricate and move around. So I'm gonna add more of my ramps. And I'm gonna just drop in a little bit of my Parmesan cheese, pinch of salt. A little more oil. And I'm gonna add my lemon juice. One little, ooh, this looks so good. Leaf cut in there. All right, one more time. Then we're gonna add the last of our leaves. It's gonna be so good. Getting water everywhere. Oh well. Okay. There. Spin it again. A little more cheese. That is the thing of beauty, I gotta say. I'm gonna spin it for another couple of seconds really, and then I'll bring you in close to see what this beautiful pesto looks like. Okay, so this is our beautiful ramp pesto with all the things in there that we just mixed into here. Okay, so all I'm gonna do to preserve it is I'm just gonna freeze it in jars. And this is all I'm gonna make this year. So I'm not gonna use this very often. This is gonna be for special for now, until I see how that patch up there is coming along. So I'm just gonna put my wide mouth funnel. These are super useful little canning funnels useful for everything. And then I'm just going to pour my pesto. Now when you're freezing jars, just a little side note, take this blade out here. Don't put the lid on right away. Leave it off until, because when things freeze, they expand. So leave the lid off for, you know, a time until everything comes together and freezes, and then put your lid on, especially if you have a full jar. Okay. So I only have about a half a quart, so a pint of pesto here, but that's gonna go a long way. So I can serve that over, like I said, polenta or spitzel, or just over pasta. I can add it to sauces if I wanted to, but ramps have a very delicate flavor, so I would probably feature this. I might grill some really nice crusty bread and spread it on that as bruschetta with like seasonal tomatoes and some nice fresh mozzarella or whatever you have for local cheese. And that's how I'm gonna treat it, as sort of a condiment and not as an ingredient in a sauce. So, once again, thank you for joining me here at Old Tavern Farm in the spring as it is ramping up. And I hope you guys go out and take walks around your area and explore your region to see what things are out there in each season. And I hope you have a wonderful early spring. Big hugs. Hug, hug, hug. Bye-bye. Okay, cut. Take 4. Yeah. Take 87. Technical. Don't we love technical? Oh, okay. Well, that's for the outtakes. No. Hi, Steele.